everyone, my name's Alex and this is my personal literacy story. Currently, I am a first year student of the Brock Consecutive Education Program in the Primary Junior Division. I hope that this video will show you some of the literacy milestones that have made an impact on who I am today. Additionally, I hope to share how literacy is more than just reading and writing and how it allows for us to creatively express our thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Growing up, my mom worked full-time as a nurse and would often not get home till late after dinner. Therefore, I remember reading together before bed to be a special time that we could share together. Her favorite book to read to me was Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Growing up, my family spent the majority of the summer camping. Being out in the woods with no service or TV provided me with a lot of reading time. My favorite books were the ones that you could get lost in and feel as though you were one of the characters. I remember The Magic Treehouse being my favorite book series. I think that this series was my favorite growing up because I was not required to read it for school. It was simply a creative outlet which led me to my love for reading. From a young age, I've had a passion for journaling and writing in my diary. As a child, I truly appreciated teachers who designated free time for journaling. Personally, my journal was a form of self-care for me growing up. When I look back on my journal today, I can see that I would often write about issues that were bothering me. If I ever got into a fight with a friend or had troubles at home, I would always turn to my journal. I'm grateful that I found this creative outlet for myself early on. Today I continue to write in my journal when I have the time to, and I love to look back on my reflections over the years. Here you will see some of the journals I have collected over time. I remember when I was in the 6th grade, all the students from grades 6 to 8 were required to write a speech for the yearly public speaking competition at my school. I remember this being a memorable project that I was determined to do well in. Similar to journaling, the end-of-year speeches allowed me to be creative in writing and researching a topic that I was truly passionate about. For my topic, I chose to write about the bond that an owner has with their dog and my dog Sandy, who had passed away that year. I ended up winning Best Speech in my grade and advancing on to presenting the speech in front of the school. Reflecting back, I believe the emotion and passion that I put into my speech is what set my speech apart from my classmates. In the 9th grade, I remember being assigned to read a nonfiction book of our choosing. I chose to read A Stolen Life, a memoir by J.C. Lee Dugar. I remember this book truly changing my perspective on life, especially as a young adult. For those who don't know, the book is about a young girl who was kidnapped for 18 years of her life. Being a young woman myself, I remember how eye-opening the memoir was for me. I don't believe that prior to reading it, I had ever reflected on a topic such as child abduction. Therefore, the memoir raised a lot of questions for me as a young reader. To this day, I believe A Stolen Life is one of the most impactful books I've ever read. I also believe that it was the book that sparked my love for memoirs and nonfiction books. Throughout my time in high school and university, journaling has played a huge role in my literacy story. As prior mentioned, since I was a young girl, I've loved to write in my journal, and this has definitely continued today. As we move into the age of technology and using formal pen-to-paper writing less and less, I believe that it is important to reflect on the value of journaling. For me, journaling promotes mindfulness and self-awareness. Taking 5 minutes a day to reflect on what you are grateful for or any struggles that you are facing can have a huge impact on your mental health. To this day, I am an advocate for youth mental health. Therefore, I made the choice to pursue a degree in social work at Ryerson University. Although I have now made the choice to become a teacher, the lessons on social justice that I was introduced to will forever be valuable to me. My program heavily focused on teaching us the ongoing issues faced by Indigenous communities. Within my program, I was provided with the opportunity to read Wichitawen by Raven Sinclair, Michael Anthony Hart, and Gord Bruyere. The book was written by First Nations, Inuit, and Métis authors who are educators at schools of social work across Canada. This novel truly broke down the history of colonization for me and was written from first-hand experience. Today I'm grateful to have learned about issues such as residential schooling and the 60 Scoop because I believe it will make me a better educator if I am ever given the opportunity to work with those within the Indigenous community and when I teach the history of colonization to my students. One of the most valuable experiences of my life was my time working at the Reach Out Center for Kids, otherwise known as ROC. For those who don't know, ROC is a leading youth mental health agency in Halton. One of my main roles was to facilitate a social skills program for youth. Many of the youth within the program were newcomers to Canada or were struggling with behavioral and/or communication issues. One of the children who I was working with struggled with communicating with people outside of his social circle. Each week I would try to get him to talk to his peers or with me one-on-one, however I would never get more than a head nod. I remember after my 4th week of working with him, I asked him if he could write down his thoughts or opinions and he agreed. From then on out, the child would express himself and share his opinions on the group conversation by writing them out on paper or drawing pictures. Gradually, he eventually gained the confidence to share his thoughts with me one-on-one. I believe that this shows the value of using writing as an outlet for children, especially when they are struggling to find the ways to express themselves. As a future educator, I want my students to develop a passion for literacy. Through reflecting back on my personal literacy story, I was able to see that the most impactful literacy experiences were the ones that I was able to express my creativity. When a teacher values the work of a student who has worked towards something that they are passionate about, it empowers the student. I believe this teaches students to be creative and provides them with the confidence to become authors, poets, and storytellers. Today, I'm grateful that my teachers encouraged journaling from a young age. As a future educator, I hope to teach my students the value of journaling. I believe that providing students with a creative outlet to express their thoughts, feelings, and emotions allows the teacher to truly get to know what's going on in a student's life. As a future educator, I hope to provide my students with journaling time within class so that they can become more in tune with their emotions and develop a love for journaling. Additionally, I will ensure to provide time where students can be creative with their projects and write and read about topics which they are passionate about. Overall, my goal as a future educator is to provide students with the opportunity to express their creativity through literacy and develop a sense of pride in the work which they create. Thank you for listening to my literacy story.